If a woman rejects a first date kiss, does it mean she has low interest? Hi there, men's dating coach Harry Wilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com, and today I'll be answering a question from a guy who went in for a kiss on the first date, got rejected, and now wants to know if he should try taking her out again or if he should just jump ship and start anew. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when a new daily episode is available. Also, check out the links in the description to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, and to show your support by clicking on the tip jar link, both of which can be found at the website as well. And now, let's check out that clip.
Let's go ahead and get into this guy's message. He says, I'll try to keep this brief. I had another date today. I had fun, but I was able to get this chick to my house and everything. After playing some pool, we were sitting on my bed listening to music. I leaned in to kiss her, but she doesn't reciprocate. She says, quote, "No, you're going to have to wait for that," end quote, which is odd since she seemed pretty high interest leading up to the date. She texted me a lot, and she even confirmed the date herself, saying, "Are we still on for today?" is the text that I got at 5 p.m. before we had our evening date. Have you ever dealt with chicks who won't kiss or bang you on the first date? Is it true that some chicks just won't bang you or even kiss you on that first date? And do I assume low interest and instantly next her? Or do I try again with another date with her later for the bang and work on my other options in the meantime, of course? Okay, so before I really get into the meaty part of this guy's message, I do want to say that he actually did a lot of things right. You know, he was able to get the date. Clearly, he had a fun time. He made it an evening date, which is what you want to do early on, is try to make most of your dates evening dates because it's set up to be able to do more stuff later in most situations. And then from there, he was able to actually get her to his house and bring her in the house. So all these are great moves. Not to say that every first date should go like that, because there will be some first dates where if you're, having it at a restaurant or you're out, that for whatever reason she won't want to come back to your place, and that's perfectly fine. Some women are willing to do further steps along the process of dating than others on those first dates, and that's okay. You have to be cool with that. So up to this point, things are going pretty good. So he gets to the part where he says, after he got her into the house, they're listening to music on his bed. So clearly they're in his bedroom, at which point he goes in for the kiss. So for me, this is like where a minor mistake was made. Because here's the thing, even though she came into the house, ideally, if you were thinking or planning on doing those kind of moves, your best bet is to try to get the kiss sometime before you get back to the house. The times that I've been successful with a first date or second date hookup will usually happen whereby we're out doing things, and then in the midst of us being out, somehow I will kiss her, at which point, now that that physical barrier has been broken, if we happen to go back to the house, it's easier to get her inside and it's easier to do more physical things with her, whether it's just having a nice makeout session or going all the way. But if you don't do that before you get to the house, then at the house itself, women's minds and opinions on you and what they're willing to do on these dates changes from moment to moment. For example, let's say this guy was able to muster up the courage to kiss her before they got to the house. In a setting where, if they kiss each other, she can decide to still go home or do whatever. She still has freedom of movement. Well, she might feel more open to the idea of kissing him versus she's at the house. Now it's like if he kisses her and he starts doing more stuff and she's not ready for it, now she's trapped, then it could be a thing where she wants to close up with any kind of physical touch early on because she doesn't want to kiss him and then lead him on to think that we're going to do more stuff beyond this kiss because we're in your house, we're on your bed. So that's why I say you want to try to break that barrier early on, because if you kiss her before you get to the house, then it's easier to do kissing and go beyond that when you get to the house. Not to say it has to happen, it's just easier. But with that said though, you need to be looking for signals during the course of the date that indicate that she'd be cool with kissing you in the first place. A lot of times that's really hard to do on the first date because you're just getting to know each other. And so you might think that it's cool to go in for a kiss, but it's really better to kind of have confirmation of that. And I don't think you need to be one of those guys that ask a woman, hey, can I kiss you? Like, we're not talking about that, but you're looking for IOIs, indicators of interest, and things that signal that she'd be okay with the kiss. So you look for things like, was she touching you during the date and initiating contact? Was she looking at your face and then looking at your lips? Was she walking close by to you? Was she doing things that indicate that she's trying to be with you in a more physical way? If you're not getting those kind of signals, then that's perfectly fine. That just means that you may need to kind of lean back a bit before trying to go in for a kiss if she's not throwing signals at you. Now, with that said, if you feel as though she's been throwing signals throughout the course of the date, then, it's perfectly fine to go in for the kiss. Understand that even if you go for the kiss and she rejects it, that is perfectly fine, which leads to number 3, actually, that I was mentioning. I wrote a list of notes about this stuff. So your reaction to whether or not she accepts a kiss from you should always be indifference, especially if you're getting rejected. If you're getting rejected, you should always apply humor to the situation just to kind of like make her realize that if she doesn't want to take a kiss from you at this time, it's no big deal, okay? Because here's the thing. Early on, women are going to be looking at you and trying to figure you out and how you react to stuff. And so sometimes a woman might want to kiss you, but she's trying to figure out your temperament. And up to this point in the date, you've probably been a relatively nice guy. You've been a guy that's been cordial. You've opened doors for you, paid for stuff. But that doesn't mean that she knows how you're going to react in hard situations. So this could be an early on test where she's like, oh, I don't want to kiss quite yet, just to see how you're going to react. Because some guys, if she does that, their reaction is going to be like, what? But I took you out for this and I paid for this and you owe me a kiss. And they get really mad about it, or they'll start being like, well, am I a bad guy? Like, is something I did wrong? Like, what can I do to kiss you, oh princess? Either way, whatever that reaction is, if it's a reaction that indicates to her that you're needy or you're controlling or you're going to get irate when you don't get your way, then she found out what she wanted to find out by doing that. But if you're a guy that goes in for the kiss and she kind of like gives you the cheek or says, oh, no, not yet, and your reaction just kind of like, well, okay, well, let's keep listening to the music. Or in the case of getting rejected, you say something funny like, like she's like, oh, you're going to have to wait for that. I'd hold up my wrist, be like I'm looking at a fake watch and be like, oh yeah, that was 5 seconds. Is that long enough? Ha, just kidding. Anyway, let's listen to some music. Like, you just played off like this is no big deal. Like I've had girls like tell me on a first date before, hey, just so you know, we're not going to hook up for like the first 5 dates. And my response has always been, I was a virgin until I was 23. Like, I can outwait you. So if you need time, please take all the time you need. I'm good. But just know, whenever you're ready for the get down, we'll see if I'm ready then too. Like, I throw it back on them like, hey, maybe I won't be ready by the time you're ready. And usually when I do something like that, again, it takes the pressure off them to think that any date we go on is going to have to lead to sex. And once that have to is taken off the table, now it's almost like they start coming to me and giving me those stronger signals that they're actually ready to do it at a quicker time than they anticipated because I was not pressing the agenda. And funny enough, I know there's a lot of pressure on women to have sex, but I think there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves too. Like, we're thinking we got to hook up by date 2 or else it's proof that she doesn't like us or whatever. And I find that once I was able to take the pressure off myself to have to make those kind of sexual moves, it actually made me a funner person to be on dates with, and it made them want to do stuff faster. To where it's like they were darn near pawing me at the end of the date instead of me the other way around. So, but understand, that's because I'm indifferent to the outcome. If I go for the kiss and she accepts it, that's great. If I go for the kiss and she doesn't accept it, that's great. I know that I still had a good time. And that does not necessarily mean that she's not interested. It could just mean, women get fed a lot of crap in their heads growing up about, oh, guys just want one thing at X, Y, and Z. So she might be one of those girls that's like, why is he trying to kiss me on this first date? Is he just trying to go for the kill and do the whole thing? I need to see where he's at with that. And they might want to kiss you. I've literally been on dates before where like I kissed a girl and then later she was like, hey, so just so you know, I'm not quite ready to go in that direction yet. And I was like, all right, cool. And then by day 3, we're making out again. And it was because I'm showing her respect for her time and for the comfortability that she needs to build in order to actually be cool enough to recognize, okay, this is a guy that's not trying to use me and I do actually like him. So fine, I'll let him, we'll kiss each other and it'll be great. Okay. So be indifferent to the outcome. Now that said, let's say a woman's been showing you signals that, or at least you're reading signals that indicate that she might want to kiss you and you're not sure, but you decide to go for it anyway. Let's say you do get rejected. Okay. Let's say she says, you know what, not yet. Oh, I need some time or whatever. It's still always a good move to make. Usually I wait till the second date because that first date, I'm usually trying to feel the woman out. But the second date, I'm usually, at that point, I'm pretty much like, okay, I need to make sure this is going somewhere. And by the second date, most women are usually understanding that if they like me enough, it's cool to get a kiss in, okay? But even if they reject it, the fact is that you still need to make the move because it still lets her know that you want her in that physical and sexual way. And what a lot of nice guys make the mistake of doing is they want to hold back. They don't want to do any kind of touches whatsoever, but they're definitely not going in for the kiss. And then it goes date 2, date 3, date 4. Now you're on date 5, wondering why she seems to be less interested and she's starting to pull away or whatever. And it's because you never let her know through your actions that you actually want her in a physical way. I know it sounds dumb because you're thinking, but I asked her on a date. Shouldn't she know that that means that I want her? And the answer, strangely enough, is no. Like, some women might think you're just trying to go out for them just to not be alone. Or, they think about dating sometimes the way that they would do it, which is like, oh, I need a free meal. Oh, I just don't want to be alone and I want somebody to like me. And so that's probably why he's asking me out, because clearly he's not making any physical moves on me. So he might just want a body next to him, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he sees me in a physical way. It's dumb. I know it's a weird way of thinking about it, but you just got to recognize that. So when you make those moves, even if early on she's like, oh, not quite yet, the fact that you made those moves signals to her that whenever she is ready, you are definitely down to do those similar moves with her. And she needs to know that and feel that, because, sometimes women are in their head about whether or not a guy likes them or not. So at least by going for the move, even if she's wondering if you're doing it because you just want sex or because you actually like her, she knows that should she have a breakdown and want to do that stuff, you are open to it and are not going to judge her for it. Okay. This is also why it's very, very important early on to not be so open to seeing her all the time, to space out those days between dates, to call her, to only schedule like 1 or 2 dates per week. Because if you are trying to, schedule a date after date after date, day after day, then what happens is she thinks that she has you in the bag early on. And I know you're thinking like, I don't want to play games and why can't I just let her know that I like her? But the reality is that when you do that too early, women think that she must be your only option. And why is that? Does he not possibly have any other people that want him? Is he a needy guy? Is he a desperate guy? Why is he trying to grab my attention so soon after we just met? Like, what have I done to earn all this attention? Is he one of those guys that gets obsessive too soon, is going to start trying to stalk me if I break this thing off? Like, it just gives off all these vibes that are not positive. So, but more importantly, it also means that when you make a woman wait in between time to see you, then when you're not in her presence, she can start to reminisce about how great of a date she had overall. And even though she didn't give you the kiss, she generally had a good time. And now it's been 3 or 4 days and you haven't called her or texted her. She's wondering, maybe I should have accepted the kiss. Like, I really did like him. Was I playing games by not doing that? Have I lost my chance with them? And that those thoughts will go through her head. So when you do call her up for that second date, she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad he called. I said yes to the date. And you know what? I don't want him to think that I don't like him. And clearly, if I was mulling over for 4 days why I wanted to see him and why he wasn't calling me, it must mean I have a growing interest. So you know what? On the second date, if he goes in for the kiss, I'll probably accept it. Like, I wouldn't turn it down. I do kind of want to do that. So, and it's not like it has to lead to sex. It's just a kiss. So it is what it is. So but this happens when you're applying patience and indifference to your dating game, when you're not so pressed about a reaction having to happen or a kiss having to be a thing that happens on that first date. Then what you'll find is, just because it didn't happen on the first date doesn't mean it can't happen on subsequent dates, because she'll recognize that you respect where she's at by being indifferent and by giving her a little bit of time, and you'll actually end up getting the outcome that you want. And even if she didn't kiss you on that first date, but the fact that you didn't react so hard to it, her attraction for you can actually grow a lot faster, to where she's willing to do more on that second date than just kiss you. But hey, I'm just speaking from experience.
Now that you've heard from me, I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever dated a woman that initially rejected your first kiss? If you're watching on YouTube, leave your comments below or write me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Are you ready to learn killer icebreakers that attract women on dating apps? Go to IntrovertDatingSuccess.com right now to watch my free video training, How to Get Attractive, Feminine, Emotionally Stable Women Dying to Respond to Your First Messages on Dating Apps without using sleazy pickup lines, which will give you key secrets to sparking attraction and conversations with women online the smart way. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this video, and catch new episodes 7 days a week on YouTube and anywhere else podcasts can be streamed. In the meantime, check out some of the other awesome episodes on this page so you can better learn how to attract women and still get your precious alone time. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.